Mike, we've asked this periodically, but it seems like we've seen little bits and pieces of X being able to do more basketball wise. Just where is he in his recovery, and has he been able to ramp up any activity, whether it's something in practice, whether it's individual workouts, whatever it is?
Well, he's doing some individual stuff, but contact, doing drills with the teams, we haven't been able to get there yet. And we hoping next week, you know, I'm gonna sit down with X today and just see what his thinking is. Because my thing is, it's gonna come down to him being able to bang a little bit and um, cut, and use his speed to do what he does. But in if that's bothering him, then I don't know if he's going to play. I mean, only time will tell. That's all I can tell you guys right now. He's not doing enough for me to be on the floor to play. I know that. Not right now.
Tom.
Mike, in that first game with Purdue, you threw a lot of different looks at Zach Edie as much as you could, especially there in the first half, and had some good success with him. How important is just that aspect of it, of trying to do different things against him each trip down so he can't get comfortable or less comfortable?
Well, we had a game plan going in, and, I thought it worked the first half. They made the adjustments the second half, and Edie got loose, and we were still able to, make some plays down the stretch to secure the win. I mean, he's just a load. I mean, I haven't seen very many teams stop him this season, and watching him on film. And, he's going to demand the ball, and they're going to go to him a lot. And, our bigs are just going to have to battle as much as they can, and we got to get them some help, get them some help as much as we can, and not let the rest of the supporting pieces get away from us. I thought that was a really big difference in the game here.
Alex.
Coach, thank you for the time. We appreciate it. I'm curious, when you look at the bench and kind of what their performances have been on the road compared to home, can you pinpoint one or two things? That is it just experience? Is it guys maybe being a little bit out of their comfort zone in a tough environment? What maybe do you feel like is not going right for the bench on the road, and how concerning, I guess, is that to you moving forward?
Well, it's always a concern when you go on the road. You want everybody clicking. I go back to last year. We played well on the road. A lot of games, man, where we were in games, and this year, even our last game. I thought the game plan was nicely done. We came out ready to play. You hold that team. I think it was 6-7 minutes. They only had like 13 points, left in the half, and then all hell broke loose. So I wish I knew what the formula was to get us feeling good about the road, and it's not just our team. There are a lot of teams in the Big Ten struggle on the road. And the environment that you play in. I look at our numbers on the road versus at home, it's staggering. It's unbelievable. It's a major difference how we play at home, and then when we get out on the road, it's totally the other way. So, we got one more game here, to go out against Purdue before, we come home and finish up our last two at home, and then you got to go to Chicago. That's out on the road. So, somehow we're going to have to figure it out.
Mike Schumann.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to follow up on X just from the standpoint of, if you do get comfortable that he is able to play physically, how challenging will that be to bring someone back at this stage of the season? As important as he is overall, how hard is it going to be to try to bring him back into the rotation and into what you're trying to do?
Well, it ain't the first time I've done this, guys, in terms of, key in the NBA having key guys that get hurt. You have to fit them back into the rotation. you never run away from your talent. I mean, X is a talented player, and he's been good for our ball club. So somehow you have to fit him back in. I don't know if I'll start him or bring him off the bench. A lot of that has to deal with once he warms up, is it good to start him instead of him sitting over there, coming off as, cold. I mean, there's just a lot of intangible things that come into when players get hurt. I can relate back to when I came back, coach never set me down. I played every minute of the game. I never came out of the game. That's just how much he trusted, where I was at the time. And a lot of that's going to be on X too. I mean, I gotta feel good. I don't want to, mess up what chemistry we do have, but he's still a big piece to what we do. I mean, he's a game changer to me. So if he's good to go, I gotta feel like I gotta put him back in there, and we got to play off of him and see where we are.
Jack.
Hey, Mike. When you watch Zach Edie, just how has he improved? In what ways has he improved from last season to this season?
I think he's in better shape because he's playing longer minutes. Last year, he played a little over half the game. And he played in spurts because, he was sharing minutes with was the big kid Williams. And but this year everything is geared to him. He's in much better shape. He's moving up and down the floor. Not that he didn't last year, but I mean the fact that he knows he's going to demand the basketball, and he's developed both hands, I mean, extremely well. So I mean, it's not like you can give him angles. He's just a tough matchup, man. He's a nightmare for a lot of teams, not just us. You can't give him angles because he's good at with both hands and making plays. So he's good. That's all I can tell you. I like him.
Todd Golden.
Yeah, Mike, I was going to ask you about that. I mean, can you take yourself out of the competitive realm and kind of appreciate the matchup between Trace and Zach from a good for basketball point of view? Not only that they're both excellent, but that they're both excellent in such contrasting ways. Do you give yourself a chance to kind of appreciate it on that level when you're watching film?
It's competition. I love it. I mean, that's kind of, as a coach, what I live for. And watching, so much talent in college basketball. And I left a league that was just full blown with talent. You can sit and you just marvel at guys. I mean, there were a lot of people that was tuned into that Purdue Indiana game here in Indiana. You can rest assured that, and just to see the matchup, and they didn't fail anybody who was watching because both of them played extremely well, and I can't help but think it's going to be the same way come Saturday.
Tyler.
Hey, Coach. I hope you're doing well. From more of an intangible perspective, how has Trace kind of helped you establish the culture you want at Indiana?
Well, I think you kind of blurred out on me. Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, from an intangible perspective, how has Trace kind of helped you establish the culture that you want at Indiana?
Well, he's helped me tremendously. I think when your best player buys into what you're doing as a head coach, it sends a message to everybody, that's around him. And Trace, yeah, we've had our battles as a coach-player relationship, but that's a part of it. I've always, as a coach, you can never run away from challenging your best players. And I was challenged as a player in college. I was challenged as a player in high school. I was challenged as a player in the pros. And I wanted the challenge. And, me coming in blindly, taking this job, I didn't know how I was going to really be with Trace. I really didn't. I knew after watching him on film, I wasn't happy with what I saw from a coaching standpoint. And I knew, once he made the commitment to stay on board, he was going to be challenged. And him and Xavier has probably caught more hell than anybody on this team. And rightfully so. X is your leader in terms of running your team. And big fella is the engine. We feed off of what he does. So, when he's not doing what was expected of him, he's got to be told and he's got to be coached. I call it coaching. That's all I call it.
Tom.
Mike, haven't had a chance to ask you this in a while, but have you had a chance to spend much time with Coach Knight at all in the last month or so?
He comes to practice once a week, man, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's been that way for the last month and a half. He pays me a visit, and he sits at courtside, and it's just nice to see him sitting there where he belongs.
Okay, last question, Dave Griffiths.
Hey, Coach. Kind of following up on that. Today, February 23rd, is the anniversary of the big chair throw that Coach Knight had back in '85. Can you remember when you were the angriest you've ever been on a basketball court, whether it was a player or a coach, and how did you react in that moment?
I don't know. In New York, I got kicked out of a game against Chicago, and Melo got kicked out. Tyson Chandler got kicked out. So, hell, I thought, I needed to get kicked out. So I lost my cool and lit into the officials, and I got kicked out of the game. But, that chair throwing was something I saw, from afar. And as coaches, we're crazy, man. We do a lot of crazy shit, on the practice floor and during the game, man. And a lot of it is, sometimes it's not warrant, and sometimes it is based on, the officiating and things that go on throughout the course of a ball game. But for the most part, I've tried to keep my composure, But sometimes it's just hard. It really is. So I understand Coach Knight's frustrations that day.
All right, guys. Thank you. We'll see you Saturday.